Hey everybody, it's the OMAD Dad. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, a channel that is dedicated to living the OMAD lifestyle or eating just one meal a day. Well, today is a very special broadcast for me because today marks the 2-year anniversary for me for adopting this OMAD way of life. I reflect and I look back now and I can't believe that 2 years has gone by already. And I got to tell you, like, I've never been more pumped up and more motivated to keep doing what I'm doing. Mostly because at this stage and at this point in my life, OMAD has become who I am. It's become simply the way that I eat and the way that I do things. And I've had so many health benefits. I've had so many great experiences on this way of eating that I could never see myself going back. Now, my first year when I was doing OMAD, it was all about establishing a baseline. My first year was, get your health goals in place, lose your weight, get your body fat percentage down. And as a result of doing OMAD strictly, I was able to, just get into a pace and establish a baseline procedure so that I could see some sort of results. And, so I did that and I was very successful with it. After several months of having just really amazing results, I decided to start this channel. And so I didn't think anybody would ever end up watching any of these videos that I made. And I now have over 1,400 subscribers. I thank you all. I hope you guys are getting something out of these videos. I hope they're helpful to you at all, and I hope they've inspired you at least to maybe give this a try. But now, as I've finished the second year, my second year was all about experimentation. This second year, I experimented with different eating times, different eating windows, and lengths, different food combinations. I've experimented with some longer fasts, some shorter fasts, whether or not I had splurge days or 1 or 2 a week versus none for an entire month. I've experimented with different types of exercising or no exercising, and did different programs. And I will say all of that was very essential and crucial. And yeah, I might have put on a couple of pounds here or there depending on what I was doing at the time, or I may have had a little bit of a struggle versus a little bit of an easy period. But what that is done for me is it's really got me to, I've been able to learn so much about OMAD, time restricted eating, and the many variations of what they are and how it works for me in my life and how I'm able to fit it into my schedule, how I'm able to make this work. And so now as I enter in my third year, I have what I believe is my own personalized plan of what I know works and what doesn't work. And I wanted to share with you today some of the things that I've learned on my 2-year journey here. And I'll tell you, it's been 2 years for me. I know there are many other people who are doing this, who've been doing it a lot longer than I have. And some of them have some really great YouTube channels. And I'm going to come out a video pretty soon of some of my favorite channels. But I want to go over with some things that I've learned in these past couple of years that I think passing some words of wisdom on to you guys may be helpful in your way of eating. So number one is you need an eating strategy more than you need a trendy diet. There's always going to be a trendy diet out there. There's always going to be somebody saying, well, you should get rid of this, or you should add in that, or you should, try this while standing on your head on a Wednesday night at midnight. There's so many different trendy diets out there. When I go to the bookstore almost needs its own separate store just for all of the health and diet and nutrition books that they have in there. And as I go through and I look at them, I look at the titles and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. And now you don't hear about it anymore. It's a lot of those are here today, gone tomorrow. So instead of getting a trendy diet, get a good eating strategy. Find something that works for you that you can stick to. It's okay once in a while to have your splurges, your special treats, but for the most part, find something that really does work for you. And when I say works for you, yes, it has to make you look good, but it also has to make you feel good. And on paper, all of your numbers should be aligned to where they're supposed to be. That's why you want to have a good relationship with your doctor. A lot of people miss that. They just say, well, I feel good doing this, but, on paper, their health is deteriorating, or some other, version of that. So definitely get a good eating strategy. And that's why, as I was just talking about in this past year, while doing my little personal OMAD experiments, sorry, I'm having trouble talking today. While I was doing these personal OMAD experiments of mine, I got to a point where I could figure out what worked for me and what doesn't work for me, so that moving on, I don't go in the wrong direction. I've taken that time out of my little schedule, and I had plenty of time to do it. I've taken my time out, I've given things a fair shot, and I know what works for me personally. And now moving forward, as I go into my third year, I know exactly where to go. I know I have a really good strategy so that I could just adopt this for the rest of my life, and I don't even have to think about it. Number 2, extended fasts aren't necessary, and they may even hinder your results. I say this because I know a lot of people who get started out with this want to lose weight. Some people have more weight than others to lose, and we're all excited. We're all very motivated to get this weight off of us. But the problem with doing an extended fast is that, yes, it will work for losing weight, but at some point you have to stop and go back into eating. You can go and develop refeeding syndrome, where you end up just having a crazy binge and doing more harm than good. And often what you'll do is, the scales kind of try to tip backwards a little bit. So instead of going to an extreme where you're trying to take a week, or even at worst a couple of weeks or a month off of eating, that's why I've really subscribe to the OMAD way of doing this. That just one meal a day, I'm getting some nutrition in. I'm not starving. I'm not, I'm not really beating myself up, and I'm eating at every day. Yet at the same time, I'm still getting a good 22 to 23 plus hours every day of fasting, and some good quality fasting. So again, you don't have to do the extended fasts. They do have their benefits. They also have their negatives too. So you have to understand that. 3, losing weight is easy, but building true health is the hard part. I really do mean this. If we're all about just losing weight, I mean, you could do what like Cole Robinson, the snake diet guy, does, and just go on a fast as long as you can until you can't stand it anymore, and then eat a little bit of food, and then fast as long as you can, and probably within about 2 months or so you'd be down to your goal weight, even if you had a lot of weight to lose. But again, it's harder that way, and it's just miserable. It's miserable for you, and it's miserable for all of the people around you who have to deal with Hangry Hank, who comes in the building, and whether it's at work or it's at home life, and who's just starving and hungry all of the time. And again, losing weight is pretty easy, but building true health, it's harder because there are multiple components to it, and a lot of people forget that. A lot of people, whether it's here on YouTube or in a lot of the books they're writing, it's all about they think it's all about the food, or it's all about what exercise plan you have. It is way more than that. It's about having a consistently healthy, good diet. It's about exercising, getting movement in. And there's many different forms of exercising, so don't think you have to be stuck to just one, or just being in a gym. You need to be getting good sleep. You need to have good emotional health. You need to take time away and have a way of dealing with stress, and on and on. There's all of that is what needs to be included in needs to be in check if you're going to have truly good health. So again, losing weight is a great side effect of this. It's a really great benefit, but you have to make sure for true health you have all of those other points that I mentioned in line too. Number 4, Splurge Days can break your momentum. Many of you that joined me in my No Splurge July challenge kind of reiterated this to me, either in email form or some of the comments that you left below on the video that I posted. And this is something that I found in my experimentation, and that was that my Splurge Days really were affecting my progress. It's like you're good for 6 days of the week, and then you have that one day where you just kind of refill up every single week, And it was getting to a point where it would take a couple of days to undo the damage that I did from the splurge day. So that didn't leave me that much time to focus on any sort of health benefits or getting any of that weight that could have come back on off. And I've heard this from other people too. But what I've said, and I wanted to make clear, was that you don't necessarily need to have a splurge day. Sometimes a well-timed splurge day every so often, once every few weeks or once every month or two, it could be what breaks a stall for you. But sometimes it could break your momentum, and a lot of people feel that you know they have to have that splurge day. You don't have to. It's good to throw it in there, maybe for just like a mental break from fasting and from time restricted eating. If that's what you want to do, then that's fine too. Like I say, slow and steady wins the race. You don't have to be in a hurry to lose weight or to get yourself to a particular goal. But splurge days, if you're going to incorporate them, and I've done several videos on this, you need to be careful and you need to watch about how that can destroy your momentum. Number 5, this was very important to me. Meal timing is crucial to your success. I have a job where I work the same hours now, Monday through Friday. It really is a great gig, and I'm glad I have it because now that I'm out of the restaurant business, I can have the roughly same eating window every single day. When I was working the restaurant business and I'd have different days off than my spouse, she would be eating at one time, I'd be eating at a different time, and depending on what hours I had to go in that day, sometimes my eating window changed 3, even 4 times in 1 week, and it just kept my body guessing, and my body just didn't know. I didn't know what to expect, and it took a toll on me because there will be some days where you get maybe about a 16, 15-hour fast, and then the next time it's like getting close to 30 hours before you eat again. It's so much easier now and consistent for me to have the same eating window every single day. I love it. I come to expect it. Gets around, probably about 45 minutes or so before my eating window starts open. I start to get a little bit hungry, and then I go and I have my meal, and I'm done at the same time every day. It's a nice little pattern. I personally love the patterns. Some people might like the variety, but for me, what I found is that your meal timing is very, very crucial. So that was another part of my experimentation over the past year, was finding the right time that works for me. And this is the time that I have now, which is 5, 6 o'clock at night. That is what I found has worked perfect for me. And so that's what I'm sticking to. So meal timing, make sure you find what works for you. 6, if you have a bad week or a bad day, you can always return back to basics. Don't think that just because you struggled today, or just because you cheated, or you had a little bit of a splurge, that you're a failure. You're not a failure. We're in an environment where there is food 24/7. It's very difficult to be religiously faithful to any kind of diet plan. And furthermore, life without its little joys and treats just really isn't quite worth living. So it's okay. But if you have a bad day, or even if this week wasn't really working out that well for you, shake it off, dust yourself off, get up from the ground, and get going. Tomorrow is a new day, and you can do this. Don't let it get you down. Don't let it stop your progress. Don't let it stop and hinder all of the work that you've put in so far. Number 7, you have to get comfortable with being a little uncomfortable. I wish I could say that fasting was the easiest thing to do. I wish I could say that you'll never have any hunger pang, or you'll never have any slight discomfort at all. But I'm sorry, even after 2 years of doing this, some days I get a little hungrier than others. Some days I really struggle with my keeping this all together. What's kept me going, though, is that I've become comfortable with being a little uncomfortable. I know that little surge of hunger, that little blip of hunger, is not even anything on my radar. I know that I'm not dying. I know that I'm not truly hungry. I know when it's my time to eat, and I know that when I do eat, it's not going to be a crazy refeed. I know how to make an appropriate meal now. I know, how to get my nutrition in. I know that I'm not going to go without food. You have to overcome that psychological barrier, and you have to be comfortable with being a little uncomfortable. And I think, excuse me, I think that is one of the main points of our obesity epidemic now, is that whenever life throws stress at us, or whenever we feel a little hint of a hunger pang, or whenever we're bored, we reach for food, because it's there, it's cheap, and let's be honest, it does make us temporarily, at least, feel a little bit better and feel good. So, but at the same time, we know where that road ends up leaving, and um, that road ends up leading down to obesity or diabetes or metabolic syndrome, a whole bunch of others. If you reach out and every time you're feeling uncomfortable and grabbing food, we know where that path leads us. So, again, it's okay. It's going to be a little uncomfortable. The road may be a little bit bumpy, but stay on the road. You can do it. And lastly, you have to be mindful of your calories. Just because you're eating one meal a day, you can still overdo it and stall your progress. And for every pound you lose, your base calorie maintenance lowers. So this is another thing that I discovered too, is there's a lot of videos out there, or people who have the belief that, well, you don't have to count calories, and you can eat whatever you want and how much you want because you're eating one meal a day. I can tell you from personal experience, if you're eating 2,500, 3,000 calories a day or more, frankly, I don't care if it's one meal a day or not, you're going to be putting on weight. And when you lose weight, the base calorie amount that it takes to maintain your weight will go down. So when you started your OMAD journey, if you were eating 2,000 calories a day, if that's what you were used to, and you went down to 1,800, but now you've lost, say, 40 pounds, if you try and eat those 1,800 calories, you may end up still putting on a little bit of weight, because that you're going over the amount of calories that it would take. You're eating an excess amount of calories to maintain your current weight. So that's why I always say, take what your goal weight is, and you can figure out how many calories it takes to maintain that on a very little amount of energy expenditure. And then that should be roughly about the size of your meal. And if you're eating whole food, whether you're more plant-based or whether you're more carnivore-based or somewhere in between, if you're eating whole food and you're not eating a lot of processed and junk, believe me, that is going to be a very large plate of food. You're going to have plenty of food, you're not going to go hungry, and you're going to have all of your nutrients that you need. But you have to understand that as you're losing weight, you're going to have to adjust some of the sizes of your meals too. Now, I don't calorie count in the sense that I like an accountant in picking up every little number here and there, but I do have one of those little calorie counter apps where whenever I feel like I'm not quite in check, where I feel like I may be eating too much, I'll start logging my meals for a week or two and see where I'm going. And sometimes it's shocking. You get an idea of just exactly how much food you're taking in at one point. Like I say, especially if you're having a restaurant meal or processed foods at all, those are loaded with calories. Or if you're drinking your calories, if you're having a glass or two of alcohol especially, those are loaded with calories. Sodas, they're loaded with calories. It really kind of nips away at all how much you really should be having for every day. So it's something to really be mindful of. But just you can't overdo it on your calories. This idea that you could just eat as much food as you want as long as it's in within 1 hour. It's not a feeding frenzy. It's not this binge and stuff your face. You should enjoy the process, but maybe be mindful of your calories. But I think that right there is overall some of my best strategies that I could give you for what I've learned in these past couple of years. I know that I've said I'm planning a live broadcast. I'm really going to try and get that scheduled very, very soon. I know I said that a few months ago, and since then I have done pretty much nothing for it. But with starting this new job and everything going on in my life, it's it's been a little bit of a tough time to everything is smoothing out right now. So I should hopefully be able to have a live broadcast very soon where I can interact with you guys and answer some questions that you may have, or we could talk about the certain points, whatever you want to do. But I'm definitely going to get that scheduled and do that very soon. But that is it for me today, folks. But that is it for me today, folks. I thank you very much for being here with me for these past 2 years. You really make this process awesome for me because you inspire me, and at the same time, you help me continuing to do this. And your words of inspiration, your questions, everything, I appreciate and I love all of it. Keep it coming. Keep them in the comments below. Keep those emails coming. And most of all, keep going on OMAD. All of you guys are worth it. You can do it. And I am proud of all of the progress that we've all made together on this channel. So I thank you very much. I hope you guys are having a great day, an awesome week. I hope you're having a very happy OMAD today, and be well.